Happy September, friends! It's time to share the details of our family's August budget.
If you're new here, we're Mike and Stephanie from SixFiguresUnder.com, where we help families make intentional money choices to get out of debt and reach their financial goals.
We've been a little quiet on the blog, YouTube, and social media during August. Thank you to those of you who have reached out and wondered if we were affected by the wildfires here in California. Thankfully, we are safe.
As is probably the case for many of you, school looks a little different for us this year. We're actually homeschooling our 4 school-age kiddos.
Getting that going, along with everything else that comes with running a household of 8, has taken up all my time and energy. But we're mostly getting things under control in that department, so it's fun to get back and start sharing with you again.
As for the budget, we'll turn this around in just a minute and show you all the numbers. August was a pretty normal month for us. We live on last month's income, meaning the money that we spent in August was money that we earned in July.
So this was our first month budgeting with a furlough paycheck. Starting in July, all California state employees took a 10% pay cut. Thankfully, we're used to variable income because our side income from Airbnb and from Six Figures Under is very different every month. So it wasn't too difficult to adapt to a different paycheck. Okay, here we are in our YNAB budget. We'll cover income at the end. We kind of have a certain way that we do it. Tithing, we pay tithing each month based on the income that we earned the month before. All of this spending is based on, is actually spending the money that we earned the month previous, which in this case is July. Fast offering, this is another donation that we make through our church.
All right, starting in on monthly bills, our mortgage is the same every month. It's about $2,800. That includes property taxes and homeowners insurance. We will actually have the extra amount we put into the mortgage at the end here where we see it as part of our goal, but this is the standard principal plus interest plus escrow funds. Our electric is $375. It's been pretty warm.
That's actually a pretty good number.
But we've done a good job anyway of dealing with it and not using AC much and being reasonable, or some might say extremely ridiculous about how much cooling we use, which is what really makes our bill go up a lot is if we're running the AC. Car insurance, this is low because we're a 1-car family now. We actually have 2, but one of them is sitting unregistered and uninsured because we barely drive the one that we are driving right now.
It's kind of nice.
It really is. Our internet bill is $70, always will be for the foreseeable future. That's our Comcast internet, and we're just excited to have it. I know some people don't love Comcast, but the other option for us is satellite or dial-up, so hooray. Our water bill, we're not sure how much this is going to be because we've been watering the garden, and it's been very hot, so we've been watering more and more frequently. We just put aside $200 because that hopefully will cover it.
It comes every other month, so we won't know until the middle of September what it will be.
Yeah, but we're putting money in there, and then we'll put some more next month, and we'll see when we actually get our bill. Trash bill, this comes every other month as well, so we put $37 in, and then we'll pay $74 when it's time for it to come out. Our cell phones, last month was the first month that we had a $50 bill here, and this is going to be the new regular. We switched from Republic Wireless that we had for years and we loved to 2 phones from Visible. Visible's a wholly owned subsidiary of Verizon, and so we can use Verizon's cell signal, which is the only cell reception we get at our home. When the power goes out, when PG&E turns out the power because of fire danger or when anything else happens, we don't have Wi-Fi anymore. At least not reliably, and so that means we don't have cell phones unless we have something with cell signals. So we switched to Verizon and Signal using the Visible carrier, and it's been working really well.
Yeah, so far so good.
So that's $25 per phone, which is unlimited calling and data on the Verizon 4G LTE network. Our home phone, this is a little, not quite landline, it's actually a VoIP line. But it's $5 a month, and I use it because for work it's nice to have a phone that's more reliably clear than a cell phone. Our orthodontist bill is $61 a month for the duration of our daughter's braces. She goes in and gets them adjusted every couple of months. Piano is $110. That's one child who's taking lessons from someone who is not mom. Mom started lessons with 3 more kids who are excited for now, and if they keep being excited and practicing diligently,
eventually we'll get them a real teacher.
They might get a teacher who's not mom too one day. And then finally, disability insurance. This is to cover my income, or a great portion of it, about 2/3 of my income, if anything should happen and I not be able to work as an attorney any longer.
Okay, I'll take the everyday expenses. First, food. We budget around $500, sometimes $600 a month for food. And normally I do a grocery haul. We try to do most of our grocery shopping at the beginning of the month. But man, in August, it was just crazy. We didn't even do a regular grocery haul, just picked things up here and there. And when we were in town, it was just kind of crazy. So I don't have a video on that, don't have any details, but we stayed in budget pretty well, $581. Miscellaneous household things. We got toner for the printer. This may have included some library fines that we had built up, but $250, we're pretty happy with that for our household miscellaneous. Gas for the car, $151.
We're even more happy with that.
Yes, this used to be $400, even some months $500 when Mike would commute every day to downtown, and we were running the kids all over the place, so this is beautiful. We do have some family road trips coming up in the next couple of months, so we'll be spending more on gas, but still don't think it'll be anywhere near what we used to spend. Clothing. So the first week we got to go back to church, we realized that all of our kids had outgrown their Sunday shoes. So we got new church shoes for the boys. Our oldest, she can wear my shoes now. It's kind of crazy how everybody's grew so fast during the pandemic stay-at-home time. Animals. We got 4 bags of chicken feed, like 50-pound bags. And those are 50 pounds, right?
Yep.
Yeah, 50-pound bags. And a big bag of cat food and a big bag of dog food. We're trying to stay ahead on those. Like we have an extra bag of dog food, an extra bag of cat food, not knowing, when...
An extra month of chicken food.
Yeah, and just staying ahead on those, just like we do with our own people food. Kids' activities in school. Now, our kids are not in school. We're homeschooling them, like we said. But 2 of them are going to be learning new instruments. So we're going to be shopping for a French horn and a saxophone. We'll be getting those here in September. But we wanted to set some money aside for that in August, and then we'll put some more money in September for that. Allowances, if you've seen our budget before, this is $70 a month. And I have a whole blog post that goes into how we do our allowances and how it's not chore-based. This is the kids' practice money so they can learn how to spend money. Just like, if you want your kid to learn an instrument, you give them the instrument so they can learn it. This is the money that the kids are given so they can learn how to manage money.
But that doesn't mean they don't have chores. They have lots of chores.
They do.
But the allowance they receive is not based on us harassing them until they get their chores done. That just happens on the side, so it's not tied to the allowance.
Okay, and homeschool. So at the beginning, when we decided to just take our kids out and just homeschool them, we were going on our own because we had been on a waiting list for a homeschool charter, but the waiting list was long and we weren't sure if we were going to get in. So we've just been buying curriculum and all that out of our own pocket. At the end of this month, or at the end of last month in August, we did get into a homeschool charter. So now we have funding from that. But in the other part of the month, we did spend $381 on homeschool stuff for the kids.
All right, we'll get down to the sinking funds now. These are accounts. They could be separate accounts. In our case, they're just categories inside of our general checking account where we put money because we know we'll have to spend it there one day. We might not have an expense this month, or we might have a very large one, but we will eventually have to spend this money. So we set it aside each month to make it easier and make sure we have it there when we need it. So for medical, we put $400 in every month. If we do that every month, it gets us just about to our maximum out-of-pocket requirement. And we've actually now accrued bills that get us all the way to that max out-of-pocket because of a couple of surgeries and ER visits. So we paid out of the fund about $1,200. We still have about $2,000 left, and we'll keep putting $400 in because the rest of those bills will come due sometime during this year, and we want to have the money sitting there waiting for that. Car repair, we didn't put anything into this because frankly, we aren't driving very much, and the car doesn't need a lot of repair and maintenance.
We've got
But we
$4,000
still have,
sitting there,
yeah,
so
yeah,
that's
we have
nice.
a lump sitting there for when something does go wrong. Christmas, if we put $100 in every month, that's $1,200 of Christmas. We spent just a little bit of it. Stephanie actually spent that and didn't tell me what it was, so...
It's not for you, though.
Okay. I can always hope. This time, my hopes are defeated. Life insurance, we put $75 a month in there. Again, if we do that every month, our life insurance premiums, when they come due in November, are just waiting for us in there. Birthdays and gifts, we put $40 in there each month, and we often don't actually spend it, but this month we did. It's kind of our birthday season, so we had some gifts to purchase. We aren't contributing right now to the car registration and smog fund because we have enough in there, and we only have one car registered. We aren't contributing right now to the Family Fun Fund. We still have lots of fun, but we're not putting money in there. We've got about $750 waiting. And the car fund, we were saving up for a replacement commuter car for me until I stopped commuting. And so right now we said, why throw money at that when we don't know when I'll actually have to drive again. So we have $6,000 sitting in there, but we're not putting more into it right now. And that $200 in home projects is money we put in because we know we're going to continue working on the garden, and we don't want to have a huge bill the month that we suddenly buy a lot of lumber or soil or fruit trees or what have you.
Okay, I'll talk about preparedness. This is a category where we put money aside to spend on food storage or 72-hour kits, things like that. This month, August, I bought some buckets from Walmart. That's a really good place to get 5-gallon buckets that are food grade. It's like $3 for the bucket and $1.25 for the lid, something like that. You have to buy them in store. You can't get them online. But anyway, I bought some of those. I got some screw-on plastic lids for mason jars for storing water. And we're going to have a video on water storage, on emergency water storage coming up here soon. And you'll get to see those and know what I'm talking about there. So just stay tuned on that. For investing, we put $25 a month for each of our kids. Well, the 5 older ones, the baby doesn't have one yet, in their 529s. It's not a very big amount, but every little bit adds up. We pretty much paid for our own schooling, so we kind of expect our kids to do that too. Okay, my IRA, we put $500 a month, and that maxes it out. Mike has retirement taken out of his paycheck, so that's a separate thing for him. Doesn't show up on our family budget. For tax planning and preparation, we have an annual plan that's $90 a month.
And just a note on that includes both the tax return, preparing and filing that. It also includes a couple of planning sessions where we sit down with our tax guy and talk about what our income streams are, because they're a little bit varied. And he goes through and kind of does pro forma returns and says, well, this is an area where you might be able to save, or an area where if you spent now, you would have a tax benefit to that.
And we used to always just do our own, but as we've gotten more income streams and things have gotten a little bit more complicated, we've found ways to save that we wouldn't have known about otherwise. Okay, now for goals. Our big goal right now is to pay off our mortgage, and we've still got quite a bit left. Like, what are we at? I think we're at $289,000 left. This month we put some extra in. We put $1,556 toward our mortgage. Most of that was from this month's budget. Some was from July. We just decided to subtract and just leave this $10,000 here, which I have a feeling we're going to do something with in September. We've kind of just wanted that liquid just to wait and see how this whole pandemic thing played out. But I think we're feeling good about actually putting that toward the mortgage. So stay tuned for September's budget update and see what we actually do with that.
We'll find out too.
Okay, and we've got some rental things down here, but that's not our family budget really. The last thing to cover is our income. And we keep all of our income. Whenever we get money, we stick it in this category, and it just sits here throughout the month. And then at the end of the month, we subtract it out of this category, and that sends it up to this to be budgeted in September's budget. And then we budget through all of these categories in September. So that's how we keep a month ahead. Okay, this is where I kind of keep track of all the totals. These are, you could look here, but you'd have to add them all up. So it's with all the separate Airbnb incomes, it's easier to just have it all up here, nice and neat. So Mike's check from the state was $6,337. He's also got this $165 back pay.
A funny state accounting
check.
thing.
Yeah. The blogging income was about $1,700. That's about what it was last month too, which is kind of odd because it really varies from month to month, but it happened to be about the same 2 months in a row. And then Airbnb after expenses was $1,306. So that's on the low end of what we usually make with Airbnb, but in this crazy pandemic that we're in, we have to have longer in between stays so we can clean and make sure everything's just so we made a little bit less money. Well, that's it for now. I don't know. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments. We're happy to answer them. And if you're new here and you're interested in budgeting and frugal living and preparedness, then click subscribe. We'd love to have you in our community.
We'll see you in the next one.